next hour and 30 minutes, I am going to cover the reality of FEMA camps in the United States, how it's controlled by the National Security Council, who in turn controls FEMA. Presidential Decision Directive 51 is in place, basically declaring the American people as slaves to the federal government and saying that Congress and the courts are ceremonial under the president. So they've used continuity of government as a way to basically set up a dictatorship here in the United States. Now, I have made 3 police state films. I have also, written books and news articles on the subject. And the problem is when you cover FEMA camps is there's so much evidence, so many congressional hearings, so many news articles, so many documents. The problem is knowing where to start. But I will start this presentation right now by simply going over the fact that GlennBeck, a year and a half ago, said that Ron Paul supporters should be arrested and that the Army should be used against them, and that they were dangerous terrorists. And I've said, hey, well, I've read that in a lot of federal documents and a lot of police training manuals in the past. And what GlennBeck is saying is a talking point being given out to the media, because we were seeing Bill O'Reilly and Sean Hannity say it. We were seeing CNN hosts say it. We were seeing Joe Scarborough say it. And I said, that's a talking point. And then suddenly he started saying a few months ago, I'm going to expose the FEMA camps. I think they're real. And I said, well, look out, folks. He's just trying to get your confidence to then discredit it later. And that is indeed what GlennBeck then did. He announced a few weeks ago, I'm going to have Popular Mechanics, the yellow journalist, on to debunk all of this. And then you literally have Michael Chertoff's cousin, running the division of the magazine that puts out these reports. You have this high-level CIA operative's wife running it. You've got, the 9/11 Commission officially saying that that's, sourcing Popular Mechanics as their source, when the whole thing is full of mistakes and disinformation, just on the 9/11 front. But on this subject of Popular Mechanics saying that they are going to debunk FEMA camps, they've really stepped in it, because the FEMA camps are on record in triplicate. Now, I did some research this weekend just to pull up past documents, articles, things I had read in the past, and therein lies the problem, trying to even cover it all. Here is the Civilian Inmate Labor Camp Program, Army Regulation 210-35, and we're simulcasting the radio show at prisonplanet.tv, so we'll put that up on screen for folks that are watching. Civilian Inmate Labor Camp Program. We're going to be going over that for folks. We're going to go over the official government documents and news articles about FEMA camps from mainstream news. I have that folder. And things that tie into the FEMA camps. Mainstream mass grave news articles and internal government documents about mass graves for the American people. The rumors end, the documentation begins. I thought I'd go over the executive orders for martial law and document those public pieces of material for you to go check out for anybody who's questioning. The public being prepared for martial law and the FEMA camps. And troops on the streets, that ties into martial law and FEMA camps. And a bunch of different videos where Congress and others are being threatened with martial law. And this is only, again, a small amount of the material we're going to go over in this presentation. I would ask listeners to check out every claim we're going to make for yourself, because the biggest problem we do have going for us is that most of the stuff I see on the internet is speculation or rumors, or they'll go show a closed Amtrak station and they'll say this is a FEMA camp. And they'll show the ticketing area where it'll have red signs for these tickets and blue signs for those ticket holders, and it's not a FEMA camp. And when GlennBeck does his debunking, he says he's going to do tonight, I have predicted that he will go with the straw man argument. He will show where people have been looking for FEMA camps and been incorrect, instead of all of this material that he won't touch. Now, I'm told he went ahead and covered it on his radio show today and did, quote, debunk things, and it's on TV tonight as well. But we're going to go ahead and go through all this, and then you can go back and see his debunking and see if our predictions were right, the predictions I've made for the last few weeks. Stay with us. We'll go through it all when we get back. Okay, about 3 weeks ago when GlennBeck was saying, I want to know if the FEMA camps are real. I'm doing research. I don't know if they're real. We said, okay, we did an hour-long simulcast for the radio show on the web at prisonplanet.tv, and I showed congressional hearings, Miami Herald articles admitting shadow government FEMA camps for martial law. We showed the bills for martial law, the John Warner Defense Authorization Act, PDD 51, and we put together that video. It went viral on YouTube. We emailed it to GlennBeck. We mailed letters to GlennBeck. I know people that work in his office. I contacted him, and I said, here's the proof. If he wants it, we stand by to work with Mr. Beck if he isn't going to come out next week and say, arrest all of us, basically, like he was doing a year ago. And sure enough, GlennBeck comes out and says the FEMA camps aren't real. There's a kernel of truth in the FEMA camps, but when we hear there's this massive plan to take over, it's not true. And he says, I'm going to have, and coming up in a few weeks, which is today, on Fox Television, I'm going to have Popular Mechanics on to debunk all of this. Well, from that, and we'll see if we're right tonight. I'm told he's doing his radio show right now and trying to debunk it, but we'll see if we were right, that he will build straw men. Now, why is this important? Fox News and the establishment have GlennBeck come out. They try to get our confidence, and then they tell us that FEMA camps don't exist. When we know the FEMA camps exist, and the government has stated how they plan to roll out the use of the FEMA camps against the American people. So let's go ahead and start with this now. Up on screen are photocopies of the Miami Herald, and this goes back into the 1980s when they had congressional hearings dealing with shadow government and martial law. There's the headline, The Secret Government. And it talks about secret summits, a plan to take over the government. And it shows the people that were in charge of the continuity of government, Dick Cheney and others. And then we have a congressional hearing where we have Congressman Jack Brooks and others during Iran-Contra bringing up the secret plans, and they're told by Congressman Inouye that can't be discussed. It's a national security issue. So let's go ahead and play that clip. Then it goes to Henry B. Gonzalez of Texas saying, yes, under a crisis, they could bring in martial law. Here it is.
Colonel North, in your work at the NSC, were you not assigned at one time to work on plans for the continuity of government in the event of a major disaster? Mr. Chairman.
I believe that question touches upon a highly sensitive and classified area, so may I request that you not touch upon that, sir.
I was particularly concerned, Mr. Chairman, because I read in Miami papers and several others that there had been a plan developed by that same agency, a contingency plan in the event of emergency that would suspend the American Constitution. And I was deeply concerned about it and wondered if that was the area in which he had worked. I believe that it was.
May I most respectfully request that that matter not be touched upon at this stage. If we wish to get into this, I'm certain arrangements can be made for an executive session.
And tragically, the only member who got close was Jack Brooks, and he was stopped by the chairman. But the truth of the matter is that, yes, you do have those standby provisions, and the plans are there, and the statutory emergency plans are there, whereby you could, in the name of stopping terrorism, apprehend, invoke the military and arrest Americans and hold them in detention camps. In times of passion and in times of great fear, what to the eyes of the person and the mind of a person in time of relative peace and stability seem impossible become very real, very logical, very possible.
All right. Now, that is from my film, Police State to the Takeover, made in late 1999. And I'm going over government-sponsored terror, how they're going to stage terror attacks to bring in martial law. They would incrementally train us to accept troops on the streets.